Hi everyone, I am Johaina Makabuat, and for today's video lesson, I will be discussing to you Suggestopedia. So before we define the term Suggestopedia, let's talk about its origin. Suggestopedia is a teaching method developed by the Bulgarian scholar professor Georgi Lozanov, a physician, psychiatrist, and a brain physiologist. Dr. Georgi Lozanov created a remarkably effective method of teaching based on how the brain actually learns. The term was coined and published for the first time in Bulgarian in 1965 and in English in 1967. In 1966, he established the Suggestology Research Institute in Sofia to put his new system of teaching into practice. He believes that language learning can occur at much rate than what ordinarily transpires. Suggestopedia was originally applied mainly in foreign language teaching, and it was often claimed that students could learn languages approximately 3 times more quickly through this method than traditional methods. Suggestopedia is the application of the study of suggestion to pedagogy. As the name applies, Suggestopedia relies on the power of suggestion for acquiring language knowledge. This method capitalizes on relaxed states of mind for maximum retention of materials. According to the theory, if students feel relaxed and comfortable, they will be more receptive to learning new information. This helps make language acquisition easier and more effective. Why is music central to this method? In order to create a relaxed state in the learners and to promote positive suggestion, Suggestopedia makes use of music, a comfortable and relaxing environment, and a relationship between the teacher and a student, or a parent and child relationship. The goal of this method is to learn at accelerated pace a foreign language for everyday communication by tapping mental powers of overcoming psychological barriers. Students learn the language quickly by being made them feel relaxed, interested, and positive. This method is developed because of the argument that students naturally face psychological barriers to learning. So, the main aim of this method is not memorization, but the understanding and creative solution of the problems. Now that we have finished discussing the origin, definition, and the goal of this method, let us now proceed to key features of Suggestopedia. The first one is the comfortable learning. The learning environment is optimized in every possible way to facilitate a comfortable and pleasant learning experience that is relaxed and fun to experience. So, beside having a spacious classroom where activities can be held, the teacher can have or integrate dim lights, soft music, comfortable chairs, and various posters relating to the target language, which are also necessary in application of this method. Second one is the peripheral learning. The idea is that people perceive much more from the environment than that to which they consciously attend. So what does it mean? Students may absorb the foreign language with posters, pictures, and decorations containing grammatical patterns rather than learning vocabulary and grammar. Third one is the authoritative teacher. The teacher takes a role of complete authority and in the classroom during the teaching. That is why it is required that the teacher must be well trained and certified. To some extent, the teacher is not only a teacher but also a psychologist. Fourth one is the suggestible students. The students are encouraged to follow the teacher's suggestions without doubts and assume new roles and names called new identities. This is a smart way to decrease learning anxiety due to errors and performances. This leads to students being more suggestible and open to the learning input. In this feature, students are asked to close their eyes and to concentrate on their breathing for relaxation while listening to some Baroque music while listening to the lessons. Fifth one is the positive suggestions. Direct suggestion might be used for the student's encouragement that is consist of a simple affirmation that all learning is joyful and pleasurable. Aside from it, teachers may also give positive feedback more often so that students will be more engaged in class participation. The sixth one is no corrections. Errors are tolerated while the focus remains on the content. The teacher does corrections by repeating the patterns in variations, but he or she is not supposed to directly correct the student. Lastly, the activities. Various activities such as music, drama, role play, or other methods known from the Gestalt therapy sessions may be integrated into the learning process as frequently as possible. So what are the Gestalt therapy sessions? This focuses on helping people learn to become more self-aware and to accept the trust in their feelings and experiences to alleviate the stress. Now that we have finished discussing the features of Suggestopedia, let us now proceed on its 12 characteristics. Number 1, the power of suggestion is used to help students eliminate the feeling that they cannot succeed. If students are open to suggestion, they become more confident on learning. Number 2, learning is facilitated by a relaxed, comfortable environment with dim lights and soft music. If music is integrated, the anxiety of the students will be lessened. Number 3, music and movement reinforce the linguistic material. It is desirable that students achieve a state of infantilization or having a childlike attitude so they will be more open to learning. Number 4, the student's imagination is used to aid learning. The students assume new names and new identities and respond to the teacher accordingly, using the target language in communicating. Number 5, fantasy reduces barriers to learning. If students are open to fantasy and wide imagination, the barriers lower, such as the affective filter. Number 6, in an atmosphere of play, the conscious attention of the learner does not focus on linguistic forms but rather on using the language, because language can be fun. Number 7, grammar and vocabulary are presented and explained but not discussed at length, because the main goal or focus of this method is the content. Grammar and vocabulary are presented or introduced if the teacher integrates dialogues and stories. Number 8, meaning can be made clear through native language transition. Number 9, communication takes place on two planes: the conscious, where the student pays attention to a dialogue read, such as linguistic message, and the subconscious, where the music is played as background suggests that learning is easy. Number 10, the arts such as music, arts, and drama are integrated into the teaching. 11. At beginning levels, errors are tolerated because emphasis is on the context, but in the later sessions, these forms are correctly used by the teacher. And lastly, evaluation is conducted on the student's normal in-class performance. No formal tests are given. Let us now proceed to the advantages of Suggestopedia. Number 1, students can lower their affective filter. Suggestopedia classes are held in ordinary room with comfortable chairs, a practice that may also help them relax. 2, students remember best and are most influenced by information coming from an authoritative source and teachers. Since this method is teacher-centered, students learn and are influenced from what is being taught to them. 3, it encourages the students to apply language more independently, takes more personal responsibility for their own learning, and get more confidence. When students are encouraged to learn language independently, they become more confident and successful. Aside from that, their minds will be more open in learning or acquiring some target language. How about its disadvantages? Number 1, limited media is used in the class. In Suggestopedia class, there are many activities that need additional media, and the problem is some schools don't have media to play music. To solve this problem, as a creative teacher, he or she can bring her own media such as laptop or mobile phone. Number 2, the ability of the teacher to apply the method. There are some activities in Suggestopedia that the teacher needs to be expressive, but it will be difficult for inexpressive teacher. So, the teacher can be more expressive by practice. The teacher has to be confident and practice a lot. There might be some limitations, but we, as teachers, will find ways to solve it. So now, let us talk about the teacher's roles. Number 1, show absolute confidence in the method. 2, display fastidious conduct in manners and dress. 3, organize properly and strictly observe initial stages of the teaching process that includes choice and place of music, as well as punctuality. 4, maintain solemn attitude towards the session. 5, give tests and respond tactfully to poor papers if any. Teachers should create situations in which learners are more suggestible and then present linguistic material in a way most likely to encourage positive reception and retention by learners. How about the students' roles? They should have faith in the system and accept that they are in a childlike situation where they follow the teacher or parent. The students should not be critical, but simply absorb what is presented to them. Now that we're done with the advantages, disadvantages, teachers' roles, and students' roles, let us now proceed with the sample activities. Number 1, use music to facilitate learning. The teacher can choose background music that will give an impression or feeling that students are in a forest. For example, the music may be punctuated by the birds chirping or the sounds of the leaves as they dance in the wind, or any sound indicating that the location is in the forest. In the classroom, turn off the lights and play background music. Then, group the students into 3 and ask them to close their eyes and let them imagine for 1 minute that they are animals, birds, trees, or flowers. After that, ask them to create their dialogues on how people should take care of the environment. But in their conversations, they have to remember their roles. If one assumes to be a bird, his or her point of view and dialogues should be like a bird and not as a human being. Aside from integrating music, we can also have number 2, tell stories. Choose a story. Practice reading the story with emotions or feelings. Then, choose appropriate background music for the story. It would be best if you prepare it in advance. In the classroom, ask the students to relax and make themselves comfortable. Allow them to sit on the floor or lie down and be with their classmates or listen by themselves while seated on their desks. Then, turn off the lights, play the music, and start reading the story. You may ask questions in between to check that they are listening intently and to keep their motivation high. Answering the questions, do not correct the students' grammatical errors immediately. Focus first on the content. Before you end the lesson, you may give the correct form by repetition in the later part. Now that we are done discussing the Suggestopedia method, let us now give its conclusion. Teacher will find different situations and different types of students in learning. Therefore, teachers should be creative and smart in choosing and using different types of methods in teaching different skill of language. Teacher can use Suggestopedia in teaching because it is very interesting and challenging thing to do. The language teaching method known as Suggestopedia provides some valuable insights into the power of cognition and creates techniques that make students feel comfortable, relaxed, and suggestible to the material being learned. After watching this video, I hope you have learned something new that you can apply in your teaching. Again, I am Johanna